This is the Ottawa Senators Outlook. Here is your host, Jack Henry.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Ottawa Senators Outlook. I'm your host, Jack. It's my reaction to the Arizona Coyotes news relocating to Salt Lake City next season. I'm going to go through a little bit of a timeline over the past 5 years and react and give my thoughts on what I think about this relocation news. So as most of you know, it came out just a couple days ago that the Arizona Coyotes are relocating to Salt Lake City in Utah, and their final home game in Arizona will be on Wednesday against the Oilers, and they will officially relocate as soon as April 18th, so that is next Thursday. But let's go through a little bit of a timeline because I have a bit of a presentation to give you right now, just to give you a refresh of the Coyotes' history over the past 5 years, and then I'll give my thoughts. So on July 29th, 2019, Alex Morello buys the Arizona Coyotes for roughly $300 million, which, considering the net worth of sports owners, that's quite cheap, to be quite honest with you. So he's the new owner of the Arizona Coyotes, and at the time they were playing at Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona, and as most of you know, in August of 2021, the city of Glendale terminated their lease after the 21-22 season, and it only got worse for them because the Coyotes faced a December 20th eviction from Gila River Arena over unpaid taxes and fees, and the club cites the reason over that human error as to why that didn't happen. So that happened December 8th, and then the next day, at the 11th hour, they were able to pay the taxes, and they were not iced out of the arena, and they were able to resume play at the Gila River Arena until the end of the season. And you're probably asking yourself, where did they go from there? They were supposed to go to a quote-unquote temporary home at the Mullet Arena, and this really is a little bit embarrassing because the Coyotes are moving from an NHL-sized venue, Gila River Arena, which had a seating capacity of 17,125, to a college hockey rink, which lists an official capacity of just 5,025. So this was the Sun Devil Stadium for Arizona State. It was a college arena, and this is the second entertainment thing there. This was supposed to be a temporary home for them. They were supposed to move into the Tempe Arena, which was going to be built 3 to 5 years later. So we're talking about in the span of maybe, hopefully, 2026 in their minds. However, they had to go through 3 propositions through voters in the Phoenix, Tempe, Scottdale area, and they were all rejected. So the Tempe proposal is dead in Tempe. So that gives them one less opportunity to build a new arena. However, though, they were able to find an area in Phoenix at the land auction. It was scheduled for June 27th, but right away the mayor of Scottsdale, David Ortega, called the Coyotes arena plan unfeasible and unwelcome. So how about that already? I mean, you're talking about a mayor of Scottsdale talking about, we don't want the Coyotes here. The city of Glendale already kicked them out at the end of the 21-22 season. And now here, the mayor of Scottsdale, nothing involved with Phoenix in this at all, saying we don't want the Coyotes here. So that speaks different levels on the ownership of the Coyotes in Alex Morello. And that's why we're here today in Utah. They're going to be there, obviously, next season. The man buying the Jazz is Ryan Smith. He is the owner of the Utah Jazz, who is expected to be very aggressive in free agency and on the trade market, according to Elliot Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast. And I think this is a good time to talk about their cap situation. So their projected cap hit right now is a little over $78 million, almost $5.4 million in cap space. But their current cap hit right now is $71,847,144. Let's look at their cap situation in the forwards, goaltending, and defense. They have 14 forwards, making roughly $34.8 million. On defense, they're making roughly 7.4 on defense with 7 defensemen, and then their 2 goalies making $4.675 million. And I could list 10 goaltenders that are making more than that, I'll tell you right now. That is a very cheap tandem, but again, we'll see. And then this is where I really want to highlight this, the dead cap. Jakub Voracek, Shea Weber, Brian Little, and Travis Boyd are not playing again, maybe Boyd, but this is over $23 million in injured reserve, $20K to Oliver Ekman-Larsson on retained salary, and then the buyout history between Cassian and Patrick Nemeth, a little over $1.8 million. And let's look at the payroll finally. Their total projected, again, $71.8 million. Their current roster is $46.8 million, which is a 65.2% of the payroll, and their dead cap is very slightly over $25 million, 34.8. And I'm telling you right now, I don't care what team you are in the National Hockey League or any sport. If your dead cap payroll is over 1/3 of your payroll, what are you doing? I mean, to have 1/3 of your payroll not even play for you, I mean, ridiculous. That just shows like the Coyotes are trying to get to the cap floor, which was like $61.7 million, and it's just embarrassing on a few different levels. A few couple things here. Elliot on the 32 pod said the group feels betrayed, and I think all the way it came down was cowardly. Morello was going to have the options to bring the team back. I don't know how a player or anyone else is going to be able to trust him again after what I saw in Vancouver. And for those that don't know what happened in Vancouver, they just didn't look good. I mean, especially in the first period. Andre Tourigny, the coach of the Coyotes, definitely said the rumors and whatnot about relocating Utah definitely got in their heads, and that didn't cause them to play well. And the ownership let a statement out, let the fans know we hear them and are doing everything we can to keep the Coyotes in Arizona with a forever home. We feel their pain. It sucks, and we are sorry they have to go through this. Well, apparently you're not sorry enough because you're the one that's relocating the team, and you haven't done anything to fix the problems whatsoever over the last 5 years. And it gets much worse. Not only did the Coyotes fail to pay unpaid taxes at Gila River Arena, not only did the NHL Players Association boss blast the Coyotes ownership for basically what I just listed. Not only did fans talk about how expensive food and drinks are and how the team doesn't even sell out consistently. Earlier today on Twitter, I saw that Frank Ciarelli said earlier in the season the Coyotes weren't paying their hotel bills, and hotels around the league banded together and demanded Coyotes paid for their hotel stays up front with a certified check. And that just is embarrassing on many levels. I mean, not paying your bills and not paying your hotel stays? I mean, what kind of owner are you if you're Alex Morello? I mean, this really says a lot about him because he's the one that owns the Arizona Coyotes. And just a few notes here. I mean, this really speaks out against him a lot because he's in the Mullet Arena. They were supposed to build a new arena like in 2026, and between that and 2029 maybe. And the plan was probably to stay in Mullet Arena for 3 years, which is not even good business because, first off, Mullet Arena, like I said, is 5,000 seats. The fact that they can't even sell out that is embarrassing. But I want you to ask this to yourself. If the Coyotes can't consistently sell out a 5,000 seat arena, what the hell makes you think they can sell out a normal NHL-sized arena, which is roughly quadruple the size of Mullet Arena? And then I want to talk about Gary Bettman because he's the only one that's keeping the Coyotes in Arizona. If this was any other market, they're out 20 years ago. And talking about the fact that Alex Morello could possibly be up for a 5-year plan or whatnot for the Coyotes to go back, or a team in Arizona, which I don't think should happen because Morello would be the first guy in there, and you saw the job he did was absolutely abysmal. So why would you give him another shot? And the last thing I do want to say, as much as people have a lot of sympathy for them, I do want to call out the fans a little bit. I know that sounds really like an a-hole thing to do, but I do think they deserve a little bit of criticism here because the amount of things I've seen on social media regarding fans about not caring about the team or whatever like that, or at least not caring as much more than Morello, I mean, it makes you want to feel bad, but after hearing that, talking about how they don't really care about the team, why should I feel bad for them? I mean, it feels like they're coming out of their own shell because the team's relocating, and I get it. I mean, people from Arizona, they have the Arizona Coyotes for hockey, and they're leaving. So you can understand their sadness or whatnot that they're leaving. But the fact that they don't even care about the team, from what I've heard, and local politicians don't want them, nobody wants the Coyotes in Arizona except Gary Bettman. And it's embarrassing that it got to this point. And the fact that we're seeing them finally relocate to Utah is a breath of fresh air, in my opinion. I think people say hockey does belong in the desert. These past 20-something years have went against that. I mean, what have the Coyotes done except go on a run in the 2012 Stanley Cup playoffs? I mean, that's a good question to ask because the Coyotes have just done nothing lately. And the fact that we're keeping them in Arizona, the fact that they want the fan base to pay for all their bills, pay for this new arena, is absolutely mind-boggling to me. I think the Coyotes owner should have some hands-on into this instead of having everybody else pay for it. And the fact that he's making out cheap like this, he's looking cheaper than Eugene Melnyk. And as a Sens fan that has went through Eugene Melnyk, that says a lot. At least the Senators had the Canadian Tire Center for the dark days of the rebuild when Melnyk wanted to be cheap. Playing in a 5,000 seat is embarrassing. The fact that you're not even the main attraction there is even more embarrassing in my opinion. So I personally am happy the Coyotes are moving to Utah. I know the fans of them are not so happy about it because they're from Arizona, but give this. I mean, the fact that they apparently don't care about the team as much as you think they would, and Utah is looking for a hockey team. The owner has wanted one for the longest of time. Ryan Smith, he's finally getting it, so congratulations to Utah. You finally have a team. But for the fans in Arizona, it's a sad day, but considering the circumstances with how politicians didn't want the Coyotes in Arizona, the Coyotes fans now showing up to games consistently. It's a 5,000-seat arena too. And then on top of that, cheap ownership. You're going to have to accept it, in my opinion. There's just no other way around it, and it's best for both parties, in my opinion. So give your thoughts on this one. My recap reaction for the Habs game will be coming out Sunday at midnight, so look out for that. But for now, this is Jack the Albert Center Zolak, and go Sens go.
Thank you for watching this presentation of the Ottawa Senators Outlook. For more of this podcast, click on the videos on the left, and subscribe by clicking on the icon on the right. Thank you.